Hello, friends and family and people that like what I do. This is a pod I've been meaning to do about a week ago. I'm too busy. There's different worlds I'm a part of, and as you know, I am part of one called Jeff Lewis, which I absolutely love to be a part of. And the pod I got to talk about today is a reaction to the last show I did. And why? Well, because I was affected, and B, because it's good content. I think the thing is that there is a lot of people that are in that show that consume the show, and I would say it's 90% positive. Positive, amazing, loving, dig what I do. And then there's 10% that are trolls and they're Karens and they don't get it. And I just want to explain my position with the show. And I want to explain to you where I'm at and what I do with the show, so you'll understand. But the first thing I want to say is that all of the people that are negative, and trust me, it's not that many. It's just that I'm affected by it, and the last few weeks have been crazy. So I just like, do I want to address it? And I was like, well, it's interesting content, and the people that'll be on my side will like it, and the people that won't will just be more. But I want to address it one time because I'm really into this new thing now. Like, I believe manifesting is actual science, meaning that words have power and you can speak things into existence. I've been watching videos about this and it makes sense, and scientists have been talking about it. You can watch the raindrop experiment where the guy says negative words to water and then positive words and the differences in the shapes of how they are. So I really am starting to become a hippie, but not a real hippie, like a scientific backed with hippie philosophies. And I believe we are all connected on a frequency. I know that sounds crazy, but it's something that people talk about, but it's real. We emit vibrations. The world is full of different vibrations that we pick up, i.e. our senses. And I think that the reason I don't really want to address this is because the people that are negative are very low vibrational, meaning they have succeeded. They have gotten my attention. You understand what this is? And they have now pulled me down to their level. Down. Yes, they are literally a lower vibrational frequency. They drink alcohol, probably most of them. There's a bitterness there. There's a sadness there. And they're behind. They don't really want to engage in a conversation. They're behind a hidden profile. They're not open, so they can also be poked at or critiqued or even found out about. They're all hidden, and they poke from behind a very safe wall. Well, congratulations, you've got my attention. And you just got me in a place where I'm real vulnerable. So I'm like, well, this will be a good piece of content, and I'll explain everything. And after this, if you don't have an enlightenment to who I am, what I am about, why I do this show, and you're still the same low vibrational critter, then I'm done with you. I'll never acknowledge you again, because then I have to acknowledge it one time, and then that's what we do. I'm not like you and everyone else that doesn't communicate. I'm a communicator. I talk about everything until we get to the bottom of it. I could talk to people forever until we get to the bottom of it. That's a problem with the show, because it was only an hour, which I understand because it's radio. We don't have, it's not like a pod, so we have to get to a lot of things within a time frame. So, where to begin? First of all, I did the show when I first started doing the show. I did the run, and it was when we were doing it at Jeff's house, and I was just a guest, and then he liked me I was just promoting my movie. And then he liked me and he had me back. And then he had me again. He liked my opinions. And then the next thing you know, I'm 4, 5, 6, 7 deep, whatever. And then I had an argument. And then, that made me come a little less. And then there were certain things going on in the world that we didn't want to do. And then they moved the show back to the studio. And then, I didn't do the show. And then I was so happy when I got a text from Jeff about 9 months ago. And he said, hey, do you want to come and do the show? I'd love to have you. And so then I went in. And then, different things happened. And he's like, I'm getting this other hour. Would you like to, come on and do that? It was just like every week. It's like, do you want to do one? It was never, there's no contract. It wasn't like, this is your job. This was like, hey, do you want to co-host something? And I'm honored. Of course I'd love to. I love this show. I love Jeff. I love Shane. I love the people. I love Jameson. I love everyone involved with this show. Alyssa, she's not really there that much. Oscar, if I'm leaving anyone out, I apologize. All the Sam, the production crew. I love all the co-hosts. I love the guests. Like, I really enjoy the process. So I've been, just each week they say, hey, do you want to come and do this one again? Do you want to do this one? Like, I don't have a set schedule. Each week it's, they may ask me, they may not. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I just enjoy it, right? So I do it because I love the people. I love the fun. I love the other world, which I'm not in that world at all, but now I'm in that world with my POV because I guess I'm a different type of point of view for that world. And you want to talk about naturally inclusive of different people's race, color, creed, sexual orientation, beliefs, political sides of the spectrum. You can't get any more different than the chumps. The chumps that love the show and the chumps that are on the show and the chumps that create the show. Like, we've got everybody. We have everybody. And everybody hangs. Like, there's no drama that I know of. I've had drama. I had 3 different dramas. I had drama with Carrie that, we squashed it. It was fine. Tired. I can go through that again. But, I did a video about it. We've been nothing but loving towards each other since. I had drama with Amanda, but I only met her once. And then, again, we squashed that. I haven't talked to her since, but she was very nice to me afterwards. And, it's not a perfect science. You know what I mean? Some days you're going to get things and you're going to have problems. Like, it's like a basketball game. A great player can't score 35 every night. You're going to have off nights. And you're thrown into a situation. What you love about the show is you're thrown into a situation and you don't know what the outcome's going to be because you don't know. Jeff knows, and he says, oh, him and Shane are really good at putting people together, or they know where there might be some connection. They know where there might be some friction, but they're like, what's going to be good radio? And they're 100% right to do that. And so you never know when you show up. I don't ever research anybody because I just want to go in. I want to be Marlon Brando, who's one of the greatest artists in the history of the world. Never wanted to read his lines in rehearsal. Never even really wanted to read the script. He would just look at it briefly and then he would talk it. So as he was doing it, it was fresh and new. He didn't want to know because he thought the element of surprise was one of the most engaging thing an actor can do, and why he is considered possibly our greatest actor to usher in. Let's just say before there was silent pictures. I'm really going down a rabbit hole here, but let's just go, silence. Let's just say the silent pictures. I don't know, Chaplin. He was a comic genius, but let's just say the silence. They could do it with expressions. And then when they had talkies, you had guys like, let's say, hello, boss, Humphrey Bogart. He was a talkie, but he had guys like that, and he says, listen here, sweetheart. And that was a certain style. But Brando was the first guy to come off the boards of New York City in the early 40s. And he would deny his eyes to the camera because he knew that you wanted to look into his eyes so bad. And at the last minute, his trick was show the eyes. So then you're engaged. It was beautiful. He was such a beautiful man. And that was the ushering in the new form of naturalistic acting. Chaplin was one era. Bogart was another era. Brando was another era, which then gave birth to, the Dustys and the Al Pacinos, which then gave birth to, the Leos and my generation. So, why am I telling you that? Because Marlon Brando never knew what he was going to do. Like, everything was so rehearsed and strict before he got into the movie business. And he gave birth to James Dean, Monty Clift, and then you had guys like Jimmy Stewart, who was a mix of the old and mix of the new. So what I'm trying to tell you is, when you don't know what's going to happen, it's exciting. It's why women love unpredictable guys. Because you don't know what the fuck. It's why you like a comic who you don't know exactly what he's going to do next. It's exciting. It's like you're walking on the edge. And that's what good radio is for me, not knowing what's going to happen. So I applaud that. And Jeff gives us this beautiful sandbox to play in. And he really is inclusive without trying. I mean, like I said, there's no... Everybody he picks is just people he likes. He doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care about your gender, your race, your color, your creed, your beliefs, whatever. If he just likes you, he's like me. Like, he just likes you if you make him laugh and you're cool to hang around with. So that's what's awesome. So it's a beautiful little melting pot of wild people. It's great. So, but I did this show last week, and I don't know why I'm talking about it, because it's just, I haven't had a weird show in a while. But since I've been back on I consider this a second run, although the first run was, I'm doing it way more than I ever did it. I'm getting a lot of good feedback. People have been really nice to me, and they love Mercedes, and they love me with Mercedes, and both of us love us both together. So it's great. But the amount of things that people think they can say to me, just for some reason, it just caught me last week. And I'm like, I'm going to address this once and once only. So you understand. I do the show because I love it. The people, like I said, I love the forum. I love the format. I do the show because who knows, maybe it can grow into something bigger. I do the show because I can promote all the other things I'm doing. I do the show because it's just another way to express myself. I don't make a lot of money. I don't need the money. I don't like to get up in the morning. So I do a lot of things that I don't normally do, but that's because of my love for the show. So that's the first thing. If I never worked again, I'd be able to survive until probably I'm 90. Just letting you know that. A very comfortable life. Okay. So if you think I'm doing this show because I need money, I don't. Also, I'm not on drugs. It's another thing. I hate getting up in the morning. I'm a Gemini. I do multiple things. I have 75 fucking things going on in my mind at once. And I'm I don't want to suck my own dick, but I'm a creative person. I'm doing a lot of different projects at once. I'm trying to finish shit. So I get tired. And I get run down. So as you know right now, I sound sick because I've been sick for over a week. So when I go in and do a show with the person I know the most and most comfortable with, because she knows me really well, even though I've only known her for less than a year, but Mercedes is a person that knows my essence. She's the type of chick she's down. You know what I mean by that? She's keys to the knees and bellies, because most of you Karens don't understand what the fuck that is because you're not down with hip hop. Okay? Most of you Karens never fucking took the subway. She's keys to the knees, mommies, and bellies. Look it up, it's Biggie. Meaning that she's a ride or die. Mercedes is a ride or die. I barely know her in time, but I know her in essence and the secrets I could tell her. Although she did put some shit on blast, which was baby stuff. But that's her reality mind. And then once, I hipped her to that's not part of the show. That's the fucking interest. And she's like, okay, I got you. She would never do that on purpose. She just understands where reality is. And then the real shit stays in the Mercedes vault. So, but she didn't really reveal anything crazy about me, but she was like, I thought a conversation we had one time, and I was like, well, that was kind of private, but I get it because she was raised in reality, so it's a different thing. But now, we had that convo, and it was all good. So, but she is a ride or die. You know what I mean? She's like my girl, like, Alyssa, like ride or die. You know what I mean? Meaning keys to the knees, mommy, and Belize, meaning they strap the keys of Coke to their knees as they go through the border, and Belize, that's your down ass mommy. You get what I'm saying? That's like a drug mule for her man. It's a gangster pimp type of talk to let you know that she's got your back, your bottom. You know what I'm saying? That's what a real bottom is. All these Karens in the comments need to read the book Pimp to understand what all this stuff means. It means super trust loyalty, which is where I'm always at in my life. I'm about super trust loyalty. And that's what a lot of people don't get. But that's what I love about this show, that I feel very comfortable with the people. And obviously I'm closest to Mercedes because I've worked with her the most. So when I go in and do a show, last week I want to address it. I'm coming in and I fucking fly in the night before. I come back. I'm in Florida, and then I got to go to Texas. Now, I could have stayed in Florida, but I had a lot of stuff to do here, but I could have kind of did it remotely. I just didn't want to wait and maybe delay it more. I'm working on my podcast room, and so I'm like, I should come back. But I could have stayed there and did half the flight. But I came back. The main reason is to do the show. So I fly all the way to Florida, do 5 shows, get sick, sleep in my hotel all day the next day, and I'm getting sicker. Fly all the way back to do the show. Then I'm going to do other stuff. I specifically said. And then I got to fly all the way again to Texas. Then I fly back and I'm going to fly away. This is the life I've chosen. But just know that I prioritize coming back to do the show. I prioritize that. Okay? And again, it's not about money. Like, I make all my money on the weekends, besides residuals, different things I do. So it's not about that. It's about being able to be on this beautiful platform. And get my ideas across too. Like, it's cool because I would say SiriusXM is probably, because it's in Hollywood, it's probably a little bit more left than I am. I'm not really right. I think I'm in the center, but the world's so wild right now, they'll call you anything. But it's nice to be able to be with probably more left place than right, and to be able to have an opinion, and not be judged too hard. Okay, am I making sense? So I go in, I do this show. It's early as fuck. My flight got in at 1 a.m. I'm sick as fuck. We go in. I didn't even know Jeff and Shane were in New York. And I was like, oh shit. And then they're like, they got to bounce after their interview. They had an interview with these 2 women that were great. I think they're Ryan and Sai. I apologize. I'm a little out of it right now, and I haven't looked back. I just remember they were a really good guest. I think it's the woman has a show on SiriusXM, and Sai is a housewife. I've seen her in the studio before. Very nice. A lot of funny stories. And I'm like, oh, this is good. And then they're like, well, Jeff's not here. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, he's going to call in. I'm like, no, he's got to go. He's got a big meeting. So it's just going to be you guys for the hour. And I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, okay. Because I'm like, I love when everyone else is there, Jeff and everyone, but we all have big personalities. So the more I can get in, the more I'm excited about. So Mercedes is like, hell yeah. So I had ideas that I was going to talk about on the show. And Mercedes is like, yeah, okay, let's do that. And then she's like, I have ideas that I'm going to talk about. And I was like, great. So we do this thing, who's leading us in, who's taking us out, who's A, who's B, who starts, who finishes, that type of stuff. So I started the show, and I was all hyped up, and I was leading out of things that we were talking about, because Jeff was talking about a $10,000 dinner, which was in New York for some of that too. And I was talking about how I met this wonderful Indiana chump who came all the way to Tampa and paid extra money to just meet me, have her meet and greet before I even did the show. And I was like, and she was so generous. And I'm like, this is like what Jeff's getting. Like, I'm getting a baby Jeff. So it was connected to the show. It was coming out of the dinner. And I was like, oh, this is a perfect way to talk about it. And then I went on into Chump Land. about how these other women came in and said, I'm a chump. And I guess she said, I'm a Trump. And I said, yeah, I know you're a chump. And she goes, yeah, I'm a Trump. But they were two sisters and they were wasted off their fucking mind. So after the show, we did a meet and greet. I have the tapes. And I said, so you guys are chumps? And they go, no, we're Trumps. And that's the first time that ever hit me. And I started laughing. I said, oh, I thought you're chumps. And they go, we're Trumps. I mean, there's 17 White Claws in, whatever. Funny. So I talk about how, and by the way, a lot of chumps are Trumps. And I said something about they're both good people. And, like, whatever. Whatever you believe, you know, Trumpers are good people, Chumpies are good people, whatever. And this lady who starts going off of me saying I'm making the show political and all this stuff goes off. And I'm like, I'm not making it political. I'm doing a thing about how a chump, how we all thought she said chump, but she said Trump. It's just a mistake. It's an easy mistake. So this woman just dedicated the whole thing about this. And I'm like, it's not political. So she said so much I had to jump in, which I never do. And then she said, it's Jamie Kennedy complaining about situations. I'm not complaining. I'm sharing situations. That's what comedy is. You share something and then you comment on it. That's what we do. If you're a comedian, you understand that. If you're a troll, I guess you don't. So I talked about how these ladies who said, I'm a chump. I thought they said I'm a chump, but they said I'm with Trump, I guess. It was in Florida. I mean, not surprising. And she goes, and during the show, and I have the video of it, she goes, I have your dick on my phone. I said, what? She goes, I have your dick on my phone. It's my screensaver. So that's why I definitely thought she was a chump, because all the time they talk about my dick, which I'm flattered. And I said, okay, huge laugh from the crowd. And I said, could you imagine if I did that at her job? If I went up to her at Bed Bath & Beyond and says, I have your pussy on my phone. It's my screensaver. I would be arrested. I'd be on TMZ. They would fucking throw me out. So the whole thing was talking about pay, what chumps did, part of the show. So I'm doing my job. Then talking about how chumps came out and what a loyal fan base they are. And then talking about that's something a chump would do, right? Like, I got your dick on your phone. Like, that sounds like something a chump would do. So I was like, this is so good, the beginning of the show, to talk about this. And then the people, which is also true, because why my whole thing is I did another joke to the lady in the crowd, and I'm like, you know what's crazy? I couldn't do that to you at your job, but yet a comedian can lose their career over jokes. Words offend people to the point where people want them taken away the ability to say them, but people can say shit about you and then you have to take it because you're the party clown, I guess. That's what you think comedy is? We're the party clown, like, and I know that's part of it. So then the guy they were with, let me explain this to you. It's basically like, yo, you don't have the same rights as me, right? So I was commenting on that. I thought that was an interesting topic. You know, people with half of a brain of depth would understand that, you know. But I can't help you if you're not able to go deep in your thoughts and your psyche. So the guy that was with them later, they bought some merch. Everything was fine. We took some pictures. They were sweet. They were drunk, but they were sweet. And then there was a guy with them who's, I don't know, gay or straight, and has nothing to do with it. But he acted like he was with these two chicks, but he dressed in a sheer top. So I don't know if he was his gay friend or he was with both the sisters hanging out. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't bother me. But he was pretty aggressive. We took a lot of pictures. And then after it was done, I did 2 shows. I flew in all day. I did 2 meet and greets. I'm done. I gave all my time. He's lingering at the bar with her, and he goes, one more picture, man, one more picture. And my opener's like, buddy, you got 10 of them. And he's like, just one more, man. So I'm like, okay. And then he goes, that's what you got, dude. You're famous. You got to do it. And I go, is that what I have to do, sir? Is that in the contract? He goes, yeah, man, you're the one who's famous. You got to deal with it. Now, at that point, I could have had a moment. But I just took it and I said, thanks, dude. And I said, get me out. My boy put me in my car, and then we went and found tacos. Because at that point, I'm like, I'm going to lose my mind. And if you don't understand that and you side with that guy, then you'll never understand the life. Okay? Is whatever you think about me, whatever you like about me, whatever you don't like, just understand I still have blood going through my veins. I'm a human being. Okay? That's why I made the movie A Heckler. I'm a human being. There's most of the time it's fine, but there's going to be days where I'm just not going to want to put up with your shit. And I'm going to have an off day. And guess what? I like my chances. And if you want, it's just this, because you could never, this is only to the trolls, could never handle the pressure and all the balls I juggle. You just couldn't. You couldn't. Because I know, because if you did, you would be doing it. You wouldn't be spending your time going so deep after certain people because you don't like certain things they say. And trust me, that's what it was. So the show was going fine. And then I guess we're going into we take the commercial, whatever. And then we go into the segment. And during the commercial, Jameson, who I love Jameson, we're totally different backgrounds and lifestyles. But, I feel that him and I really get along. I hope we do. I mean, on my side, we do. He's funny, and he's game. He's a gamer. You know what I mean? He's about it. Like, he's adventurous. He's very put together. But I believe that he's down to try things, and that's why I really, really like him. And he said, well, the first segment was a little down. Let's try to bring it up. And I'm like, like, not that I'm opposed to taking notes, but it's like, again, I'm not making a lot of money. I'm sick. I'm tired. Jameson's working the board, and he says that. And I was like, so what did that do? And he's great. He's very creative. He's fucking the backbone of the show. It's like, okay, well, what does that mean for me? All right. Well, that just kind of killed my mojo. I was like, because I was really enjoying myself. So then I just felt like, okay, well, I just put me in my shell. Not that he ever wanted to do that, but I just felt like, well, I'm going to just go into my shell because I felt like I was having a good time. And so Mercedes was on the next one, and she says, I got these really things I want to talk about. I want to talk about destination weddings, and I want to talk about Mother's Day. And I was like, okay. So she's like, I got this crazy story about this destination wedding. And so she's talking, and I know that people say sometimes we talk over each other, so I was letting her talk. And she told a story, and then, I don't know, I guess the destination wedding was a destination vow renewal, so that was different. And then, I don't know, the story just kind of was ended, and then she's like, what do you think? And I was like, I don't know. I go, 5 days. If people are inviting you to go to somewhere for 5 days and they have all these rules, like I agree with Mercedes, like you're already showing up, like, but to have a schedule, and if you're like 5 minutes late, you're not going to get a car ride to the event. I mean, and you're in another country, that's crazy. I agree with her. Like, I wouldn't want to do that. Like, be loosey-goosey, So it's a lot of pressure when you go to these things, I guess. I don't really go to that many destination weddings, if ever. So I was just kind of letting her do her thing, and then she goes into Mother's Day. And, already Mother's Day, although I'm pretty comfortable now, but I mean, that bummed me out for a long time. Because, like, although my mother lived till she's 89, I can't complain. But, like, I see all the people posting all these Mother's Day pics, and I'm like, oh, my God, Mother's Day. That wasn't a thing 10 years ago. It was like we had Mother's Day, but we didn't have it in our face. Like, my mom, and some of these people posting stuff with their parents aren't the best kid. They're just like, oh, this is the one day I'm going to act like I'm a good kid, or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like there's hypocrisy on all these holidays of people posting like their happy post. It's the social media, what's really going on in their life as opposed to social media. So I try to keep my social media just for my business and real, but maybe, I don't know. So I was already like, what am I going to talk about Mother's Day? Like, my mom's dead. God rest her soul, 5 years, And I was like, okay, So Mercedes was just talking about like Mother's Day, and I guess she had a tough Mother's Day, you know, and I don't know what's going on in her personal life. That's none of my business. I don't know her relationship, but, you know, she speaks very highly of her husband, and he seems like a good dude, like somebody I'd really gel with, and her child, and they have this cute little unit, you know. I don't know. I guess it was funny though because he was like he was gonna do something, and then he ended up taking her to Chinese buffet, which I like a good Chinese buffet. So I was like, "Yo, what's up?" Like egg roll, dim sum. But again, I'm not a woman. I don't know. I'm not a mother. So maybe there was something different. So anyway, I guess Mercedes didn't love her Mother's Day, and so here's where the show gets interesting. So we're talking about that. We're playing off each other. But again, I'm not married. My mother passed away. I don't think of Mother's Day. The only reason I think about Mother's Day is because all these people posting pics with their mom. That's it. Even people that I literally posted a video of my mom and my dad on my TV show, just because everyone else was posting. I was like, okay, I'll post, but you know, it's like they're gone. You know what I mean? But I can honor them. But I honor them I honor them when they're alive. And by the way, I'm sick right now, so it's like I'm doing this just to make content and also express myself. So, yeah, so we do that. And the funny thing is, as soon as this happened, the fucking phone lines just light up. Like they haven't lit up like that in a long time. And it's my Mother's Day was this, my Mother's Day was that. And this woman called in, and it was so sad. I mean, she was sitting in hospice with her uncle, and then, you know, her husband wasn't there for her, so she was losing an uncle. And then Monday, she filed for divorce, and another woman had a kidney failure. And it was like, there was so many calls that were just twisted up Mother's Days. And I look at Jameson, and I go, you wanted positive. And he's crying, laughing. And we're having a great time because clearly the first part of the show, which I didn't think that was that negative, got like people just had all of these nightmare scenarios, and we can only take a few of them, you know. People had a really tough Mother's Day, and it puts it in perspective for MJ of like, you know, this person's, you know, losing a loved one, or they don't have their mother, and you know, MJ was dealing with, you know, Chinese buffet, but everyone has their own battles, you know. MJ, I believe lost her father, and that's a very, very tough thing, you know. So everyone has their crosses to bear. So then I wanted to talk about other stuff. Like I wanted to talk about how, because this is very show-centric, about the canceling of celebrity. Like that's a real thing. It's called the Great Celebrity Blockout. And where basically what it started, it's at the Met Gala, people were paying $75,000 a plate, and they were hemming and hawing about fashion. And meanwhile, eggs are $11 and people can't eat. I mean, it is the most tone-deaf shit I've seen in a long time. Like, let's just be fair. A few years ago, I would have loved to go on the Met Gala just because it's a bucket list thing, although it blew up. I don't remember it being this big in the last 10 years. But now, since my eyes are much more open than they've ever been, I think the Met Gala is a straight-up fucking Satan fest. I'm not even saying that in a Satan way. I'm just saying it's like there's definitely ritualistic shit there, for sure. The themes, it's just weird. Let's just be real. Second, people, it's so shallow. Let's just get it out there. If you give a fuck about what people are wearing, that alone in a perfect society is just, how can I say this? If you care so much what people are wearing, that's just so shallow. Like, you can say, oh, you look good, that's cute, but like to obsess over someone's outfit is just like sad. I'd rather obsess about a conversation or a connection or something. You know what I mean? But to obsess about, oh my God, who are you wearing? It's Givenchy. Oh my God. Like, I didn't even like that shit when they did it in the 80s, but it made sense. But the world's too crazy now. So it's tone deaf. But it's dumb. Like, let's just be real. So I thought, so all these people that are struggling in the world, I mean, people are literally shitting in the street outside the Met Gala. And then you've got all these celebrities paying all this money and wearing the most expensive shit. Most of them you don't know. Like, you do know J-Lo, and you do know, you know, Usher, and you know other people that are huge legacy stars. And then there's a lot of people that no one's ever fucking heard of, but they're considered hot right now. So they go, and you know, people are absolutely livid on TikTok. So they're blocking celebrities, and there's a whole thing about it where you can watch the numbers go down, and there's a lot of pushback against celebrity right now, a ton, and it's only going to get worse. And that's really interesting. And I wanted to talk about Alyssa Milano. I think this is an adult topic, and I like Alyssa. She's sweet to me. I don't know her that well. I really don't know her, but she's always cool to me. She's married to a guy that used to be my agent. He's a great agent. But she did ask for money for a baseball team, and then she posted pictures every day from like a $4,000 a night suite in Cabo, like more than what Jeff went to. So I'm like, that felt like it was a ritual. Just stay with me. I'm going to go to the people that really understand it. Like, why would you ever do that? You can't ask for money and then go, by the way, here's pictures of me at a suite. If you understand what the term ritual means, it makes no sense. It's like you never tell someone you're going to steal from them. You steal and you're like, yo, I stole. But if you announce that you're going to steal and you do it so you get caught, there's a ritualistic element, karmic retribution. People who know, and you can look it up. But in a nutshell, she's a very smart woman. I don't think that she's that tone deaf. I don't understand why she did that. But I could be confused. But I don't even know if I should be saying all this because I like her. You know, I may not agree with everything she talks about, but she's cool. She's a legacy star. Like I said, her husband's a great dude, a great agent. So, but I don't know. Like, I have no idea. So I thought that was really interesting that fit into the tone of the Met Gala. I mean, so these are things off the show, coming off of Jeff's ideas. I'm doing it. I'm not even making it Jamie-centric. Do I love that I'm going to get more time to talk? Of course I do. I'm a narcissist. I admit that. I love it. I love talking. Then we did the show. Mercedes was, I think she had a tougher Mother's Day than I realized. And she wasn't being heard by me. And that was my fault because I was like more into this stuff. And I was like, I didn't make her feel heard enough. She needed a sounding board and I didn't. And that's wrong of me. And she's going through her own thing. You have to understand, everyone has their own life and they come together for this 1 hour early in the morning. You know what I mean? It's not like we all hang out together all the time and we don't plan or prep. So afterwards, I came out of there and everyone was cool. And Jameson's like, I think it was interesting. I mean, it was an interesting show. It wasn't one of our funnest, but it was interesting. And he was honest about it. And I agree with Oscar's there and they were cool. So then I usually linger, but I just left. I was like, this is going to be. And so MJ was leaving. I said, we had our first fight. And then I said something. I don't know what happened. I guess I was talking over her somewhat on the show. I just wasn't. I don't know if I was talking over as much as I just wasn't. I wasn't just giving into her gripes. I was like, okay, no biggie. And she didn't feel heard. So that's annoying because I hate it when people do that to me. It's like, you don't feel my fucking pain, right? So I said something and we're leaving and I said something to her about like, well, I said like, she's like, I got to do something. I got to go. And I said, well, we had our first fight. She's like, it's fine. And then I said, she goes, I'm not annoyed. And I go, well, I am. And she goes, well, I don't care. And I went, oh, okay, really? And I go, all right, good. And I'm never like that. And then she started having to talk to someone else. And I just left. And I was like, okay, that's weird. I never leave things like that. I never leave things on an uncomfortable note. But I was like, really? Like, you're just going to fucking, I don't give a fuck. Okay. So that was like, I was like, this is an issue, right? To the point where I made videos about it, expressing my feelings in my phone because I was so hurt. Because that's a person who really listens to me. But I probably burden her with shit, to be real with you. Mercedes can be like a therapist for me. You know what I mean? And she'll listen. She'll give me time. And she absorbs a lot. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I fucking probably shouldn't have dumped all that on her. And she's pretty good. I mean, I love it when I take her out to eat. I wish she would eat with me more. Because then she eats. I fucking let out some stuff, and then we laugh, and then it's gone. You know what I mean? I'll eat together. And it's nice, but when they're in a hurry, and she needed me to be her sounding board that day, and I wasn't. So then I leave, and I just go about my day, and I'm like, fuck it. And I talked to my girl, and I was like, well, that was a weird show, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, it's okay. Not every show is going to be good. It's just how it happens. And, I'm doing my thing. I forget whatever I'm doing that day. And Mercedes, like an hour later, texts me, and she goes, if I know you like I know you, you're thinking about the show. And I just want to let you know that you're wonderful. And I'm not going to go into the rest of this stuff, but she sent me this most beautiful message without any prompting from me. And I was so touched. And she talked about what was going on with herself and how, I don't want to get into our private discussion, but it was completely accountability, like zero defense, just a raw, open nerve. And she was completely just sharing her situation of how she felt, of a lot going on in her head. And I was just so touched, and I said, I'm here, and that I love you, and that I'm always here when you want to talk. And I so appreciate you reaching out, because I wasn't going to stew about it, but I definitely put a mark on her, like, okay. And it was fucking beautiful. So that made me love her more. Like, she's a real one. You know what I mean? This is why Mercedes is a winner, and why she's the opposite of the trolls in the comments, because she's vulnerable. She's not scared, but she's also tough. She also knows how to take a joke and deliver a joke. But like, that said everything. She knew she had all her shit going on. She didn't have the best Mother's Day. She has a child. She's a husband. She's got a thriving business. And her fucking co-host who scoots around, who, I've got money in the sense of, like, I don't have the pressures. Like, she has money as well, but I mean, I don't have all the other pressures she has. I have my own pressures with myself, but it's just me and my chick. You know what I mean? And the different people that work for me. So, but I don't have a family because I don't want all those pressures right now. It doesn't mean I won't, or, she basically became the bigger person and put herself aside, didn't just to cater to my feelings. And that is that's the opposite of narcissism. That's empathy. Well, she needed it more than me, so I was being a pig. You know what I mean? I was being a pig. I should have been more there for her. But that's why you like the show. You like the show because I'm a loose cannon. I'll say something crazy. Mercedes will then say a line that'll add to it that's hysterical, or just laugh hysterically, or me and her will notice someone's energy in the room, and she'll say something, and then she'll say something back. Like, let's say Patty's in the room, and then Mercedes knows how to ping that pong and back at me to make it more heightened. And then Jeff's over there going, hee, like loving the pot, right? Because it's perfectly this stew that he's created. So that's what happened on the show. So, pretty much that's it. I never listened to the shows. I don't listen to any of the shows. I mean, no offense. I did it, done. I don't even watch half the stuff I shoot when I do it in terms of other things. Like, so I just go about my life, and but I do read the comments, and anyone who says you don't read the comments is a liar. Everyone reads the comments. We're in this business because we need your validation. We love attention. We're attention-seeking whores. But we also like to get validated. So we read the comments. I mean, there's some days we don't. I mean, sometimes there's so many comments I can't read them all. But, if I feel really good, if you really read the comments when you're down. Because if you're having a good day and you did good, it's like, I don't need that. I already know it was good. I just go about my day. So anyway, I started reading these comments, and I just felt like they were so out of pocket. And I never respond. And I'm like, I don't know why, but it's just because I was sick. I'm like, this is so out of pocket. So I started like commenting back. And I just, like I want to react to a couple of them here because I was like, it's crazy. And the canceling of celebrities, that thing is actually a interesting thing and an interesting time because our show is so celebrity based and gossip based. And that's why I did this, because it's like behind the scenes and peeking the curtain, a little gossip, a little honesty. So I think that would be engaging for the crowd. Like, there are people just go, I thought today's show was so funny. Jamie Karen Kennedy. Again, this is the dumbest thing. Karen is what the people here are. You're the Karen. I'm not a Karen. I can't be a Karen. The Karen are the people that spoil the fun. I bring the party. We get it. Jamie Kennedy hates that he can't treat women like shit the way he used to in the 90s when he had some relevancy. Let's break that comment down. Forget the Karen part, because it's not me. Like, I'm not the person who is telling you not to skateboard at 5 p.m. on the school property. That's just not me. I can't treat women like shit. So this is libel. Like, so basically, I treated women like shit. Do you have proof of this? Do you have facts? The way I used to in the 90s. So in the 90s, I was treating women like shit. Let me tell you, I've had arguments with women in every decade. So that's just the timeline's off. But treating them like shit. Okay. This feels personal. And then it says, when he had some relevancy. So I'm on a show, which is the biggest satellite radio company in America, possibly the world. I'm on the show once a week. Am I not relevant? Like, I hate when people say this shit. And I'm going down to their level because I just don't know why. I'm doing it one time. But again, they're winning because I'm giving them air. But it's okay because I really want to address this. Like, it makes no sense. Like, so maybe I'm not relevant enough in your eyes, but that's what I play every big comedy club every weekend. I'm at every top autograph con all the time. I'm not in Spider-Man. They're not making it right now. Excuse me. If I had 2 lines in Spider-Man, would I be more relevant? I'm on a game show. Funny you should ask. I'm sorry it's not The Voice. Is that, like, it's just these words that, like, they have power, and it's like, what are you saying? And then, of course, when you click, it's completely a private account. And by the way, this would have been a lot worse if I did this a week ago. So actually, it's good that I took a little time. Now listen to this one. Longtime listener. I actually messaged Doug and to let Jeff know how odd and off, capital, Jamie Kennedy was today. And not a good day they have this happen if he was negotiating a contract, which I didn't know. Like, was my show a contract breaker? Are you putting that amount of pressure on me that I'm the person, if your contract doesn't get renewed, I did it? Me? I'm that much of a liability? Like, again, words have fucking power. Oh, I'm not allowed to get mad, right? I have to take your stupid shit. Oh, but I'm aggressive, so it means I hate women. No, it's because women are always the ones with the biggest mouths, because a guy wouldn't do that, because if he does, he knows it's going to end up into a fight. But women can, because they don't have to worry about that. So they can just fucking shit all over you. I'm not your husband's, okay? I tell people, 5 of the strongest women ever were in my life. My 4 sisters, who never turned a trick. My mother, who's been working since she was 19, okay? And the nuns, all of them, tough as nails, strong, but above board. They didn't steal, they didn't cheat, and they weren't corrupted. And so, if you want to talk about women, that's why I go in later. Like, trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Plus, all of the different women I've worked with in my life, all the different women that I've, how can I say, dated. I've met a lot of different types of women. I think I know women. So this is what I want to get to it. Jamie was today. Not a good day to have this happen. He was negotiating. I get a conflict can make for good radio, but poor MJ dealing with that goofiness. That's okay. Jamie was odd, and I turned off the show. Jamie was not funny or interesting to listen to. Seems like he was all gooped up on goop. What the fuck does that mean? Gooped up on goop. Are you saying I'm on drugs? What? I'm not Gwyneth Paltrow. What the fuck comment is that? Gooped up on goop. And then I just wrote, yeah, goop. Then I wrote something to her and it wasn't a good comment, so I just deleted it. She goes, yeah, then he calls people's names and deletes the reply. Lady, I'm minding my own business. And then I told her, you accused me of goop. I'm not Gwyneth Paltrow, and blah, blah, blah. And then this lady goes, oh. So this one woman goes, you're messaging Doug to tell on Jamie? Grow up, with a great comment. And then, of course, I hate these people. Okay, LOL. Like, they're so cool. You don't affect me. I'm so funny. No, it's true. Like, there's no accountability in these comments. That's what's annoying. Like, go, like, yeah, that is stupid. I'm in my 50s. I drink a lot of wine. I'm going through menopause. That was weird to call Doug on Jamie. Like, like Doug's, you know what I mean? Like Doug's gonna run to Jeff. Well, yeah, this lady goes, why message Doug if it wasn't an episode you like? That's so weird. And if someone wrote, if you know Doug, he's never involved in any drama. And he's very respectful. That's so true. That's a true comment. Doug is amazing that way. So some lady goes, I'm not interested in them. And I go, we're not interested in you. So then this other girl says this stuff. She's going off on me, and I write, cope. She writes, you're so sensitive. You might want to check the likes on my comments. You're wearing out your welcome. Again, this is a private wall. So I'm probably going to put her in this thing so you can see who says this stuff, because these people need to be called out. But like, I'm wearing out my welcome. Says who? If I'm wearing out my welcome, why am I booked every week? And then she says, you're like 50 using the word cope. What's wrong with that? You have to be under 50 to use the word cope? Like, again, taking these personal shots to a person that's just, it's like, you know, but they're hidden. I don't know anything about this girl. Then she tells me to relax. I'm sensitive. Yeah, I'm sensitive. We're all sensitive. If you have an off day, I guarantee I can find your sensitivity button very simply. It's not hard to do, okay? You're a normie, okay? I do this for a living. You do it between candle sales. Someone wrote the first bit did seem a wee bit heavy. And then someone goes, did you listen to the second half? Yeah, that's another thing. This lady talks about how I'm not relevant. And then she said, but then Kendrick Lamar said it best about B-Rad. So if I'm not relevant, why am I being name-checked in the biggest rap beef we've had in 10 years? Like, again, you can't have you have to either give me my props or not give me my props. Yeah, and then the person corrects this woman. This woman's going off about how I said Trump. I said, okay, I mean, she's got TDS. I hope this is Jamie's last time on the show. That's just weird. Then I had another lady DM me going, nice knowing you. You really fucked up today with MJ. She wrote that. I screenshotted it. And I said, are you threatening me? She goes, no, I love you. I'm not threatening you. You just messed up today. Again, nice knowing you. You really fucked up today. Are you threatening me? No, I'm not threatening you. I love you. Can someone tell me how that's love? Again, any of these people, if they came to a comedy club within 3 minutes, would be crying. Just would be. And I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just saying I have that ability to get to the core of who you are in 1 minute, and you will be crying. You will cry. So it's like, why poke this bear? Why keep coming for me? Well, some parts of the show were a downer. I love how you both keep it real, which is true. That's what it should be. There's no politics. People are like, I don't want to know your politics. There was nothing political, someone said. Yeah, I mean... Jamie, you had so many great points and were incredibly kind and empathetic to every call or confused with all the negativity. I agree with that. Some lady called me uber sensitive. That's why you're single, bitch. Because your man ain't sensitive to your needs. Always a fucking private account. Look at his hoe. Uber sensitive. We're all sensitive. I just allow you to see my sensitivity. It's okay. I'm sorry that you don't have feelings. This one lady went off and said I was a misogynist. And then another lady defended me. And I said, don't you understand, ma'am, that if you don't agree with a woman's belief, you're a misogynist? So, anyway, that's the take. The take is, I love doing the show. I really want to keep doing the show. I really enjoy doing the show. For some reason, there was just a lot of negativity that day with the comments, and it wasn't really warranting of it. It wasn't like my fight that I had with Carrie or my fight that I had with Amanda or even Patty. It was just a day where me and Mercedes weren't vibing as normally, and then it just became a thing. But then the comments were so ugly, that I was gonna record right away, but I've been so sick, and then I had to travel, and I was like, okay, so look. So the ending is this: if you're a hater, you're never gonna get anywhere other than this one time you've got my attention. But I'm not gonna, if you're not open to listening to the points of why I am the way I am, then we just really should never communicate. So, but for the rest of the people, I really enjoy it. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming to my shows. Thank you for listening. Thank you for encouraging me. Thank you for wanting me to be more open. And to my co-host, I love working with you, and I hope to do more. To Jeff and Shane, I love you having me. To Sirius, I hope that you don't mind that I push back on these people that are not very human at times. The world's a crazy place, man. I can't promise you what's going to happen. But I can't promise you every time I'm on the show you're just going to be Calgon. I'm going to take you away. There's going to be some things that are deep, and some days it's just going to be off. And I'm allowed to respond. And that's it. But it's when it gets real hateful and real personal, you got to check yourself on that, because I'm not your bitch. Like, subscribe, peace.